You're listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
This is Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. We appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. I want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. It would be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was in Academy.
That would be a little weird. Not Academy.
Not Academy. Academy. Academy, I don't know.
What is it spelled the same as that store? Isn't that a kid's store like Kadimi or something like that?
Oh, you've lost me.
Uh-oh.
Don't know that one.
Could it be Kadimi?
Cadamy.
No, it's not the same.
Okay.
Cadamy.
Yeah. Academy. It's got to be, right?
We're going to get somebody to mark. That ain't how you say it.
It's in Cadamy.
Lee Battelle. Do we have a thought from Lee Battelle?
We're not worried about his opinion anymore. He's a bet Welsher.
He's a liar.
And it's
what he is.
A swindler.
Yes. The only way you can pay us back, Lee, is by cooking us a ribeye steak in right field. Although we're not welcome there by a certain group of people, but we are by Lee Battelle, I believe.
Yeah. Just depends where you go. Wherever you are in our great state.
It's just one. I think it's just one little group right there that likes to flip us off and tell us to suck it and all that stuff. That little group there doesn't like us.
Yeah, well.
But we have a lot of friends in right field.
I believe we do. We know. You never know. We'll see.
And those people don't film themselves at the urinal in the bathroom.
Wherever you are in our great state, you can enjoy Strange Brew Coffee each and every morning.
I didn't mention any names.
That's true.
And as we know, as long as you don't mention names, it doesn't matter.
You're fine.
That's what I was told.
StrangeBrewCoffeehouse.com. That's the place to go for these coffee things.
Mm-hmm.
The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind
you. Go further if you'd like.
No, let's stop there, and we'll go back to the Mississippi Beef Council, who are our friends also, and they want to let you know that beef, it's what's for dinner. If you're cooking out this weekend, nothing beats the sizzle of beef on the grill. If you're not cooking out, well, then hit up one of the great steakhouses around the state of Mississippi. They're everywhere. They're easy to find. You can't go anywhere without finding a great steak here in this state. This is a state of steak. That's what we are. I'm hereby declaring Mississippi the steak state.
I saw a picture. We talked about Jason's Southern Table in Kosciuszko. Yeah. I saw a picture of one of their steaks, which they got best steak in Mississippi, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Why are we not going over there? Because the steak looked immaculate.
That's in Kosciuszko, right?
Yes.
It's not that far.
It's not far at all, especially where I live in Ackerman.
We need to get our friends to the Mississippi Beef Council. The steak tour needs to happen.
I'm trying to speak it into existence like I did the catfish. I'm trying to do it.
Help us out here. Beef, it's what's for dinner, thanks to our friends at the Mississippi Beef Council. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com is the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you are looking for. Baseball season is in full bloom. If you're missing out on some M over S gear, the place to get it is at College Corner. 2 locations in the Jackson area. They're in Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, Flowood by the Half Shell, or you can shop online at collegecornerstore.com. Restaurant Tyler, Starkville's flagship restaurant. For lunch, for dinner, for Sunday brunch, the best meal in town is at Restaurant Tyler, and it is the best meal in town. It is the place to get a fantastic lunch, a great dinner, an awesome Sunday brunch. It's all right there in one location. We love going to Restaurant Tyler. We eat there as often as we can. If you live in Starkville, you need to do the same. Lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch, whatever meal you want, you can get it at Restaurant Tyler. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout central Mississippi. Let PriorityOneBank.com be your guide. They'll show you not only how they're going to help you, how they're going to help you manage your money, how they're going to help you invest, they're going to help you prepare for the future. When you have questions about your money, you deserve answers. You deserve them on your schedule, not somebody else's. That's your money that we're talking about. That's why you need a bank that provides a level of service that you're only going to find at Priority One Bank. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority. We almost did it again. We almost had the good weekend, and just one team can't get the job done.
It's the science.
Yeah,
It's the science.
At this point, we have enough statistical evidence that we can go from
And
hypothesis to theory.
Some people said no, it doesn't exist because we have had these two teams win at the same time. It's not about the one day. It's about like
when you're
really like hot in one sport and you're really hot in the other sport.
Yeah, when you're experimenting, you got to take thousands of simulations, right?
The data.
So there always are going to be outliers.
Yes.
So the fact that there are outliers doesn't prove anything. Nothing is going to have 100% success.
That's
but
correct.
I think at this point we can say without a doubt, you're never going to get a full weekend.
Now it took me 7 years to get through college, and I never got a doctorate or a master's.
As far as we're concerned,
it just took me that long to get a bachelor's.
Yeah.
And I was terrible at science and math, but I feel confident in my data here. That it is the science.
I know a doctor. And I'll let him have a look at it. Dr. Brian Scott Rippey, he'll have a look at it for us, and he'll let us know.
Mr. Rippey,
Dr.
Rippey,
Rippey.
Dr. Rippey, is certainly
he's board certified. I don't know if
he
is or not. Yeah,
he is. Yeah. He's certainly well received,
well respected in some circles.
He is
in some circles. All right,
even after the slip he had on the radio that time, which was absolutely hilarious.
I wasn't on the air that day. What a shame.
So, that was good.
You know, Richard has gotten 2 F-bombs in his life on the air. He didn't say either one, but he's been the victim of 2.
Oh, really? What was the other one?
Lane Kiffin.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That was the
Egg Bowl.
It was.
He said those bleeping cowbells are annoying. Or he said those cowbells are bleeping annoying.
And Kiffin also, I think, dropped an F-bomb after the Georgia game.
I don't know about that.
When they were taking the field, I think he
Richard
said, like,
had to deal with that
one. Effing ridiculous. So
no,
I didn't use the word, Mom.
No, you didn't. No,
Even that really makes my mom cringe. They
say bleeping.
If I say bleeping or freaking, it's freaking. She does not like freaking.
17ing.
She doesn't like freaking.
17.
She doesn't like shut up. She doesn't like.
Shut up's a bad word. That's a no word.
Yeah, it is. It is a little harsh, isn't it?
It can be, but you got to break that out when you need it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wish Mississippi State would have shut up Oklahoma on Saturday, but that didn't happen. What a gross game by State.
Yeah, it really was.
Just awful. State shoots 39% from the floor.
40%, thank you very much.
39.7.
Okay.
They allow Oklahoma, who, let's just be honest about Oklahoma, not a good team. I understand this is where you're going to get whataboutism. Where you're going to get, well, they beat State. It doesn't matter. Sometimes bad teams win.
And I understand that this would have been a quad 1 game, but this is a team that has not played well lately.
They had lost the previous week to LSU at home.
Yeah.
Not a good team. State allows them to shoot 53%. Since we're going to round up here, 53%, 43% from 3. State, this is a game. State's out rebounds this team by
them on the boards.
Killed them on the boards.
20 offensive boards to 8.
And yet somehow had 36 bench points to 19. But could not make shots and could not stop Oklahoma from making shots.
It's one of those games.
93-87. State gave up 54 points to Texas A&M in the game. They gave up 59 points in the second half to Oklahoma.
It's one of those games where you look at the stat sheet and it doesn't really make sense if you don't look at the box score, like the score by halves. If you just take away, like, I'm looking at it and I see State hit 10 3-pointers, Oklahoma hit 11. State was 19 of 22 from the line. Oklahoma missed 10 free throws. State out rebounded by 11. They had 21 second chance points. I would say that State probably, I think they could win that game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma just outshot them by 1-3, but they're still there. The 59 points in the second half is the story.
It's gross. And of course, there was a rat.
Yes.
There always is going to be. Bryson Goodline is today's. I'm sorry, not Bryson. Sam Godwin. Am I looking at this right? Yeah.
Yeah. 17 points, 10 rebounds.
It's the guy who averages 6 points and 5 rebounds a game, and he goes for 17 and 10.
And Elvis hit some big shots.
I was so mad when I saw that. It's like,
Kobe Elvis.
we gave you love, and this is how you repay us.
Well, that's why he did that.
Yeah. And also, at the same time, State, the final 3 minutes of the game, Oklahoma doesn't score a point. I'm sorry, doesn't score a field goal. They got to the free throw line, but State couldn't make the shots there at the end. Hubbard.
He got up to a 14-point lead.
Hubbard has 19, but I mean, a lot of it's coming from the line. State with 4 guys in double figures, you think would be enough, but Kugel, 5 of 17. Kugel's just been awful. He's just not getting it done. There's just no question about that. I thought Keyshawn Murphy was really good in the first half. Second half couldn't do anything, and defensively he was a nightmare. Melendez almost has a double-double. He has 9 and 10. Not a lot of turnovers, only 13 turnovers in this game. It's just another game. The fact of the matter is this: State had good vibes coming into this game. They had won 2 in a row. You thought they're going to win this one. They're going to be an 11-7 kind of team in the conference, maybe at worst 10-8. And now it's back to, okay, can they get to 9-9? Because I think they can beat Texas and LSU at home. But Arkansas getting a big win Saturday night. They look like they're going to hang around here a few more.
Yeah, I've never felt confident about that game.
Since State's never beats Calipari.
Yeah, they've been successful against Arkansas in the last few years, but the way that Arkansas is playing, I just don't know. But
I asked Jans on Wednesday when we had him on the show, on the live show, about did he feel like his team was starting to find its identity, and he said yes, and that this is not their identity.
Got completely away from it.
They shot. I hadn't really looked at these stats because I was out of town. Oklahoma in the second half shot 68%.
Yeah.
They were 17 of 25.
9 of 10 to start the half.
Yeah.
I remember that specifically.
State was up 3 to go into the locker room, and then within 2 minutes they were down 8, I think.
Strangely, I think that the way State played in the first half was a major contributor to why they lost this game. And here's why I'll say that.
Okay.
Oklahoma outscored them by 9 in the second half. They scored 59 points. That's disgraceful defense.
Yeah.
To give up 59 points in a half, that is disgraceful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
There are NBA teams that won't do that.
That's terrible. That's terrible. And Mississippi State, that's not Mississippi State's identity under Chris Jans. And it's not how they've played the last 2 games. It looked like they turned a corner. They completely reverted back to where they were. But in the first half, the way that game started, State had no energy. They were playing, incredibly. I don't want to say that like they were playing lazy, but the passes, the way they were handling the ball was lazy. And they just came out dead. And Oklahoma was able to kind of get some momentum early. State regained it. They fought inside because they were missing a lot of shots. They were cleaning up the boards and rebounding and putting it back. And they were able to get out to a lead. But I think they let Oklahoma hang around in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
That Oklahoma kind of controlled things in the first 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. State kind of made it a back and forth affair.
They didn't get the lead until what, like maybe 3-4 minutes left to go?
And then State was able to kind of push it out a little bit, but then Oklahoma got some momentum there at the end of the half.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave them life. When you go on the road especially, and you play a team that's been really bad, that has been struggling to find any kind of consistency, find wins. They did this against South Carolina. When you let those teams hang around, the percentage chance of them getting the upset goes through the roof. And that's what happened here. State didn't come in and punch them in the mouth and put them away. State let them hang in it and then just completely messed the bed in the second half. Fears just made them look silly in this game. I mean, he was 5 rebounds shy of a triple-double. 27 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, just killed them. And he was finding the open man. They were hitting shots. You let this team hang around, and this is what happens. And once again, I'm just going to look at it from here on out, like until something happens that changes my opinion on this. If the other team makes 10 3-pointers, I'm just going to assume Mississippi State loses the game.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then I feel like Mississippi State's going to win. Yeah. That's where I am with this team right now. They're 2-8 in games where they give up 10 or more 3-pointers made. And they're 17-0, I believe that's correct, in games that they keep them in single digits. That's where the game by this team is going to be won at the 3-point line. Can they defend the line or not? If they can't, then they're probably going to lose. That's just where it is right now.
Listed attendance of this game is 7,140. That arena holds 10,967, almost 4,000 empty seats. and you still go up there and lay an egg like this in front of a team that was ready to lay down. And remember, what was the game last year? Well, maybe it was football we were thinking about with Missouri, where State came out and had a little success early, but they couldn't deliver the knockout blow, and then you fall apart. And that was what this was. State takes the lead into the locker room. All you've got to do is come out.
It was Missouri this year, though.
Yeah.
They had some
all you got to do in
early.
this game is come out, hold that lead through the first media timeout, and Oklahoma's going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, State just completely gives the game away.
Because even with State playing so poorly, Oklahoma was never impressive in that first half. I mean, the whole time it felt like, okay, if you can just settle down here and hit some shots, you'll be good to go. And they just never did hit. I mean, it was just it was bad. That second half is as bad as it gets defensively. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, you let a team shoot 68%, 54% from three. They also made 18 free throws, so they were getting to the line as well, especially late in the game when State's trying to get buckets and stop the clock. But goodness gracious, just an awful performance. And it's a situation where you had a lot of momentum, you had everybody back on the bandwagon and going in the right direction. And now it's just, you're going to play Alabama on Wednesday. You're not going to be favored in that game. That will
Tuesday.
Be Tuesday, yeah. We'll just be as generous with that description as we can. You're not going to be favored in that game. You get LSU at home, and you should be able to beat them. Texas is a team that's going to be fighting for its tournament life when it comes to Starkville, and so is Arkansas. So nothing for sure in these last few games. We still know State's in the tournament. We're not worried about that. That's not the issue. The issue is we want to see this team show everybody they can be a team that pushes into the second weekend. And what we saw these last two games before this was a team that looked like that. Going to Ole Miss and winning, that's a good win. Mm-hmm. Beating Texas A&M like that at home, that's a great win. But this win just puts you right back into that question mark mode where you're just looking at this team and going, I don't know how much trust I have in them. And again, we've been saying it all year, and I'm going to stick to it. When State when they announce State's game, the first thing I'm going to do is look and see who they're playing and see what that team's three-point percentage is. And if it's 36, 37%, when I fill out my bracket, I'm going to have State out in the first round.
I can't really blame you on that. I mean, they have really struggled against teams that can shoot it. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. I mean, Chris Jans is going to have to, in the offseason, really assess, how he wants to build this roster next year. Mm-hmm. You can't have a team this bad at the perimeter.
He's got to get back to what he does. Get defenders and
long defenders like DJ Jeffries.
Yeah,
I mean that's just kind of where they are now. I mean they with the defense that he likes to play, they have just not recovered well when they need to come off a double team or somebody catches it in the corner and they got to close. The last couple of years, they've recovered extremely well.
Yeah.
And they've shut off those 3-point shots. Well, now those guys are wide open and there's nobody there. And what he likes to do, double teaming the post, trapping, trying to do that stuff, they're finding open shooters and those guys are knocking it down. And then on the flip side, State's getting those shots and they're missing them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just they got hot late in the game, but they were putrid from three.
Kugel's stat line is an abomination. 5 of 17 shooting.
Yeah, it was bad.
1 of 6 from deep.
And that's kind of what you get. I mean, if he's not hitting shots, if Claudio Harris isn't hitting shots, if RJ Melendez isn't able to score, I mean, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. That's just where Mississippi State is right now. But I look at this game, and it's not a bad loss for the metrics. So a lot of people immediately jumped into like we're going to drop 2 seeds now. Are we even going to make the tournament? Things like that. This doesn't hurt Mississippi State hardly at all. It's a quad 1 loss.
Anybody saying, is this team going to make the tournament is just an idiot.
Please just stop.
You're just an idiot. They're already in.
If they lost the rest of their games in this regular season, they would probably play themselves in the bubble, but they would still probably get in.
They would be in. They would be in 100%.
So it's definitely just. But to me, the biggest thing about this is that sent you right back to where you were before Ole Miss from a mindset of like what this team is. Mm-hmm. I really felt like they had turned a corner. Like we saw a team that was playing Chris Jans basketball again. They were playing with confidence. They were defending 2 really well defended ball games for the most part. And then you come back to this game against arguably probably I would say probably the second worst team in the league. and you gave up 93 points with 59 in the second half. It's just it can't happen, and that's why it's tough to really predict what this team is or what they can do. I don't know. Right now, I don't have a lot of faith in them to go into the NCAA tournament and play a team that is capable of shooting. And that a lot of times, those are the teams that advance in the tournament are the ones that can knock down shots. And this team can't defend those kind of teams. So it's in the past 2 years,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
In the past 2 years, I looked at that team, that Mississippi State team, and thought, on any given night in the NCAA tournament, even though they didn't win a game, that could be a very difficult matchup because of what they did.
They wanted to play State because you knew they were going to give you hell defensively.
Having to scout that on, 2 days' notice is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But this team doesn't have that.
No.
So, I don't know.
Their team.
This will be the team that goes to the Sweet 16.
We'll see.
Who knows?
That, but just not a great effort. But from that team, no question about it. They need to regroup quickly. They got Alabama, as you said, on Tuesday. Women got a big win, and I mean, from a scoring standpoint especially, 81-55 is the final score from the Hump today on Senior Day. There is one home game left. I understand why they moved that up when you consider that there's going to be enough emotion in that building when Vic Schaefer returns.
Mm-hmm.
State 19-9 now, is that right?
Yeah.
Are they in?
I think they're in right now.
Okay.
But you can't go lose at Auburn next week.
So they still have one with Auburn. Auburn's bad, right? State
Auburn is bad, but I predict a much different game.
Because it's on the road.
Obviously, they're not going to win that game by 40.
Right.
But it's on the road.
So if they finish 1-1,
Auburn's playing better.
If they finish, they finish 1-1. They're
yes.
fine.
I would be surprised if they beat Auburn and they don't get in.
Okay.
I would be surprised, and that's last year's team had 8 SEC wins. They were 8-8.
Yeah.
But if you remember that team, they closed the season
really
just, really
bad. Yeah.
And I think that the committee punished them for that.
Yeah.
And because from a metric standpoint, I don't know how many teams in SEC history had ever been 500 in the conference with 20 wins overall and been left out of the NCAA tournament. And that's what happened to State last year. And I think that was the committee saying you can't close the season like this.
Yeah.
And so this team has been this team is not nearly as frustrating as that one. They've been frustrating, and turnovers have been a big deal.
Last year's team had more talent, top to bottom.
Yeah, and experience.
Yeah.
And you beat LSU, and you're sitting there at 7-3 or whatever in the conference, and you finish the year 1-6.
Yeah.
And your last 6, and you lost to a bad Texas A&M team in the SEC tournament. So this team, there's just not a lot of bad losses. The Missouri loss wasn't good, but Missouri has been on the cusp of winning some big games here down the stretch. Just hadn't been able to win it.
They lost today. I think
they lost by 2 to Ole Miss, but they should have won that game.
Chances to win, yeah.
You look at that game and the Missouri game, the Florida game, and those are 2 games. If you would have taken care of business in the final minute, you are clearly in and you're playing for seeding.
Yeah.
But you lost those 2 games, and it's now keeping you.
And if they do something crazy this week and beat Texas, they'd be in.
Even if you lose to Auburn, you're in at that point. I mean,
all right.
But they're 6-8 in SEC play. They have a chance here this week. I mean, huge week. They need to go. And I don't want to dismiss the Texas game, but this is about to be the number 1 team in the country coming to Starkville, and it's one of the best coaches in the country and a team that's really talented.
We're a few days away, but what's that reception going to be like? I think it's going to be super positive.
It'll be standing ovation. Yeah, it'll be a loud ovation. I think. Okay. I would be shocked if it isn't. These people still hold Vic in high regard. I don't talk to a lot of people that are angry with Vic or despise Vic. I mean, most of them are. They believe that Mississippi State didn't do its job keeping him here. So I don't see a lot of animosity towards him by this fan base. And I think that he will be well received.
Yeah, he's got to be hating life, is A&M. Because if they could have just if Gary Blair retires at the same time that he's going to Texas, if he's like, no, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
He just goes to A&M. He goes home.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they waited, and now look where they are. Not in a good spot.
It'd be nice to have Vic still here.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of people have dismissed Sam. And, he obviously there's been some situations where he could have done some things differently in games. And, there obviously last year, the way that things ended.
He's putting great
tough.
talent on the floor, though, and his recruiting class next year is outstanding.
I think there's something to be said. I mean, I don't think we can dismiss the fact that he's probably about to have his third straight 20-win season.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think that's still important. This guy inherited a program that was about to be in shambles. I don't think people realize where things were with this program. It had been completely blown up, and he recruited a transfer portal class that I thought did an excellent job of kind of getting them back to the NCAA tournament. And he's had 3 different teams, and this is his first high school group that he's brought in that is, impact level. Yeah, Miracle Shepherd played a good bit last year, and Jasmine Brown Hager played a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this group coming in is the first group of players that I think could really play a lot of minutes for you next year. And he's going to be bringing back some players. He brought back 3 players from last year's team.
Yeah.
That contributed.
Yeah.
3 players. And that's a very difficult thing to do, having an almost entirely new roster that you're having to get everybody on the same page. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we can say what we want to about the X's and O's, finishing games. I get it. Totally get it. And I'm not trying to take up for Sam here, but I'm just giving you the facts. I mean, the guy's about to likely have 3 straight 20-win seasons, and people want him fired in a non-revenue sport that state has not been good in most of its existence.
People just think he was supposed to come in and just replicate with Vic. By the way, Vic Schaefer did not start his career with 3 straight 20-win seasons at Mississippi State.
And it's a totally different era.
It is.
He didn't have transfer portal, but
it takes some time.
I think you have to give Sam his flowers on some stuff too. I mean, he's put a roster on the court that is competing in the SEC. These players haven't given up. They've gone toe-to-toe against some great competition this year and been really competitive. We haven't seen the locker room issues that we saw last year. That was a big reason for their downfall. If he gets to the NCAA tournament, I think you have to be excited about the direction of the program, because I think the roster next year, even losing Jerkayla Jordan, I think has a chance to be even better, because he's going to be bringing some players back finally, and he's going to be able to sustain a little bit here. So, I don't think you should give up on Sam Purcell at Mississippi State at this point. It's not like he's tanking the program.
Right. No.
They're still in pretty good standing. Now, can he be better this year? Yeah.
Isn't he basically, he and Jans are kind of the same guy?
This is the same
The only difference is if Purcell makes a tournament last year, they're the exact same person.
Yep.
So
it's really kind of startling how close it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both like
they're
both like 20 wins every year. They're right there on the verge of the tournament.
Yeah. It's just that Mississippi State men's basketball is down for so long. Now James has brought it back, whereas women's basketball was up for so long, and now it's trying to get back to there. So, I mean, there's
I think people
perception.
They don't overlook it because it's part of why they think this way. But what Vic did here is once in a lifetime kind of thing. Mississippi State, it's very difficult for them in a sport to do what he did.
Yeah.
In that stretch. He had a stretch that I don't know if we'll ever see again in Mississippi State women's or men's basketball, where he won 2 straight SEC championships. Mm-hmm. He won an SEC tournament championship. He went to 2 national titles. It just doesn't happen. What he did was incredible and organic too. So I think that, some of it is, Sam's just, following a legend. I know he wasn't the guy right after the guy, but it's short enough period here.
In that, it's crazy how short the window was between Schaefer and Purcell and how much went wrong there. And, God rest Nikki McCray-Penson's soul, but just did not.
The ghost of...
I know, the ghost is happening here.
the
It just-
SuperTalk studios.
For whatever reason. And that's, it was crazy because I remember her resume at Old Dominion. She looked like she was the next up and coming
I
coach.
thought it was a good hire on paper,
And
just like Joe Moorhead.
It just was not. And Moorhead,
2 whiffs by John Cohen on that.
Is what it is. All right, let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by our friends over at Two Brothers Smoked Meats in the heart of the Cotton District, the place to find the smoked Southern soul food that you are looking for. Robbie and I had a great lunch last week at Two Brothers, and you'll probably see us back there very soon. And you'll definitely see us with the older brother very soon because we've been missing out on that one. So that's two great places right there next door to each other in the Cotton District. So when you park your car in the Cotton District and you're thinking, where do I want to go eat? You got two great options right there. If you haven't been to the older brother yet, I know a lot of people still haven't. You're missing out. You need to get there up here. The next time you're in Starkville, you got basketball this weekend. Come to the older brother. Have a great meal there or at Two Brothers Smoked Meats in the Cotton District.
Also, we're hearing about some exciting things coming from an NIL standpoint at Two Brothers.
That's correct. Yeah. They are getting even further. They've always been an NIL friendly business. They've always been a member of the Bulldog Initiative, and they've pushed money there. But they're about to start getting involved in a much higher level. So when you support these local businesses, you are supporting the Bulldog athletes, the Bulldog Initiative, the State Excellence Fund, so on and so forth. So check that out. More information to come on that very, very soon. Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. That's what they've been doing for 50 years.
What did, brother?
50.
Did you see Houston Nutt made an appearance at the Arkansas game?
He did. That's great to see. I'm glad to see him back in the warm embrace of Hog Nation.
That's where he belongs.
It is, 100%.
He's a hog through and through.
100%. When you need business technology, when you need a new copier, a new printer, new computers, you need to call Advantage Business Systems because not only are they going to give you great name brands at a great price, they are going to deliver service after the sale that makes the difference, all right? It's one thing when you call these places and they put you on hold at a call center, and then they're like, all right, so what's the problem? Okay, we can get somebody out there. Today is the 23rd, so we can be out there on March 1st at the earliest. Is that going to work for you? And you don't really have any choice but to say that it is, because what else are you going to do? Tell them, no, don't come at all? Or as opposed with Advantage Business Systems, you're going to talk to the same people who made you the sale, and they're going to be, hey, we can be there later today. We can be there tomorrow at the latest. That's the difference that they're going to provide for you. 601-362-9192 or visit them online at absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems will help your business do business. You're going to be in Starkville this weekend for Mississippi State versus LSU. You need to make a trip to Maroon & Co. You need to go see some of their incredible merchandise. You need to go check out all of the stuff that's on the shelves there, and it's stuff you can't find anywhere else. No other place in Starkville that sells MSU gear has a bigger or better selection than Maroon & Co. Plus, you can use our promo code, Thunder15, to save 15% off. That's online or in-store, whatever you want to do. Before your next trip to a game here in Starkville, make sure you're headed to Maroon & Co. We said on Friday's podcast that fair or unfair, Mississippi State needed to sweep Missouri State this weekend. Coach Chris Lemonis delivers a sweep. 3 very different games from what I can tell. And I wasn't in Edenable this weekend. A pitcher's duel on Friday. State had to score late to get the lead, but they took that game. State in control most of the day on Saturday. Relatively easy win, 9-3 is the final there. And then on Sunday, State takes a no-hitter into the 9th inning. But then it turns into a game that's actually really close. It goes from 6-1, and it's a no-hitter. And what that tells you, Robbie, is that there were some problems with walks in this game. But a 3-run home run makes it a 6-4 game. But Mississippi State gets the win. They get all 3 from Missouri State. They're 5-1. At this time a season ago, they were 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
They are on a much better trajectory right this second. Still very much on a hosting trajectory. And if you're sitting there saying it's so early, I'm telling you, after these last 3 years, I have learned that it doesn't matter how early it is. It's time to talk about it. And Mississippi State is on the right trajectory after 6 games. So that's good news for State. Walks on Saturday. 8 walks to 8 strikeouts. That is not the Justin Parker way. Sunday, I'm sorry, yeah.
But they had, I think, 9 walks on Saturday.
That's concerning.
It was. And some of it was, I felt like the zone was a little tight at times. Mm-hmm. The way State was pitching was a contributor here.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Simone's talked about it a couple of times this weekend. The launch angle that Missouri State swings with, State was trying to get over the bat because it's a team that they haven't hit a lot of home runs this year yet, but the way that they swing it, the potential is there for it. So a lot of it's, a little high in the zone, and then sometimes keeping it low too. But I think that played into it. We saw on Saturday, I thought they were pitching around Zach Stewart, who's one of their big veteran bats in the middle of the order. They pitched around him a little bit. I think they walked him 4 times on Saturday. So some of that is that. And Stone Simmons had 4 walks in 4 innings. So he had half of their walks, and he's still getting back into the groove a little bit. But what I like about State's pitching is they're not giving up a lot of hits, and they're really not giving up a lot of hard contact. The walks are that's a little concerning. They had
didn't have but 3 on Friday. Pico Khan
Pico had a lot
back to back. Not just outstanding starts, elite level. I don't know. I'd have to look, but I'll put Pico's first 2 stats of the season up against anybody's in the country.
Christian McLeod kind of looked like this early in 2020. I know Christian didn't end well, but he turned out to be a pretty darn good Friday night starter.
He was great most of the season. It just when the postseason rolled around, for whatever reason, he fell back. And
he ended up having Tommy Johns. That could have played into it. But I really think Pico can be an effective Friday night guy for you. He doesn't walk guys, stays ahead in the count, really doesn't get hit hard. So, outside of Ligon, I thought the starts were okay. Ligon was kind of like Simmons. He gave up some free bases. He actually gave up some hard contact. I don't know. I don't know if I see weekend starter in the SEC. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
From a stuff standpoint,
right.
I just don't know if this is a long-term thing. Stone, we'll see. He's got 2 wins and 2 tries, and he's building up that endurance a little bit. 5 strikeouts, no hits in the game in 4 innings. State's got to knock off the free bases, but in these early season games, you kind of have to look at it like you're going to have some down moments in a game. You're going to have, at the plate offensively, you're going to have a bad stretch. Can you come through offensively in big moments? And State left some runners on the bases early in the game, but they hit 4 home runs. They had some big hits in the game. They're still, I think what people don't understand is they're still trying to figure this lineup out.
Yeah.
They're playing a lot of guys. We saw 2 guys today that haven't started in the starting lineup, and they both had big hits.
Yeah, Garrick Fry starts the game off first pitch home run.
Garrick Fry went 2 for 4. Ethan Pulliam had a triple off the wall. Aaron Downs didn't start yesterday. He comes in and hits his 2nd home run of the year. You got a home run from Hunter Hines. You got a home run from Ace Reese. So you're still trying to figure out the offense. I thought this was a good weekend for them after they got through that rough patch on Friday.
Yeah.
When they got through the rough first 7 innings or whatever.
Couldn't get. Yeah, I think what was it you said they shut out for what
18
straight innings or something like that.
So they got through that.
Yeah.
Saturday was a solid offensive day
on Saturday.
Yeah, and then the pitching side, you get the free bases, all that. Are you getting out of it, or are you unraveling? And they never unraveled.
Yeah.
In both games. Both games they didn't fall apart out there.
Let's we got a question in here from our friend Ben Howland who wants to know: is Missouri State an NC2A tournament team?
They're not currently because they're 2-5.
Right.
2-4.
When you watch them play, you're like, that's a team that can win in their conference.
I think
so.
Yeah. They had a couple of really nice pitchers. I thought the kid on Friday was really good. The freshman from Canada. That's one of those kids that it would not shock me to see in the portal this year.
There wasn't a fight, was there?
No.
Okay.
No, there wasn't. So I thought he was good. I thought the starter today for Missouri State was solid. And their bats, I really believe that as the season progresses and the temperatures warm up and we start to see them kind of get going in conference play, it wouldn't shock me to look up and Missouri State be, a 2 seed in somebody's regional and like people saying, I do not want to play them. I really do believe that. And this has been a program that's been really good for about 10 years.
I'm trying to do some math here. You have to forgive me.
You mathing?
So State gave up 20 walks on the weekend. Total of 20. They only gave up 12 hits.
Yeah, I mean
that's rare.
Yeah,
usually you get a couple guys on base free, and that turns into a play.
I really feel like they were being careful with this lineup, like because we haven't seen this from them in the first. We didn't see it in the first 4 games.
Yeah,
where they were just there was a lot of walks and free bases, things like that. I really believe that it was a situation where they were probably trying to be very careful, and you can argue whether or not they should have done that, but I think that played into it more than anything. Is more of like an analytical thing than anything else. I'm just not really concerned about pitching right now.
Yeah,
and to me, I come away more impressed with the pitching staff that they didn't give in on the weekend than coming away saying this is really, really concerning that they walked guys.
Some big games coming up for Mississippi State.
Big games.
With this Houston tournament. So that's going to be something,
And Tuesday's a huge game against Troy. That's a top
Troy's
25
a good team. They can hit the long ball too. So, and the weather, you're talking about the weather warming up. This week in Starkville, I think the high on Tuesday is in the mid 60s. So it should be some better weather. So we might see some more action at the plate. We shall see. Big week for Mississippi State basketball. Big week for baseball, and a lot more going on as well. All right, guys, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. For Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on Super Talk, Mississippi.